Hello and welcome to Higher or Lower, the show brought to you by oddschecker, Spreadex and Sporting Index as we look ahead to the weekend's football and assess if we think the eventual midpoints will be higher or lower than the results of the games. Easter weekend.
Woo!
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter.
Thanks, mate. You too.
How many Easter eggs are you going to eat?
I've got a
Higher
thing
or
for Easter
lower
eggs. I would
than
say
3.5?
higher, yeah. I think the dairy milk,
Hold on.
the Cadbury's Easter egg is the
we're
best
saying-
chocolate of all time.
When we're saying Easter egg here, I'm talking about a big hollow Easter egg.
Yeah, mate.
You're going to eat 4 or more of those?
My friends take the mick out of me when we're at school. We used to have one a day.
What, all year?
No, but it's probably from like the back end of March to Easter.
As soon as they
What
went
about-
to the
Tesco's,
what about
£1
cream
a
egg?
go. Not huge. I like them.
How do you eat them?
Yeah, this is why I try and stay clear. 'Cause I don't think you can eat them in public.
one go.
What are you doing?
Well, I mean, if you eat them in one, that's rogue.
Quite a big mouthful as well.
If you try and bite it in half, it just goes everywhere. So I feel like there's only one way to eat them, and I'm not explaining it on there.
Bloody hell. Wow.
Knife and fork.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't eat chocolate, do you?
Yeah, I do.
No, just
As you can tell,
mocklet,
mocklet. Yeah.
vegan
Dark
Jack.
chocolate.
Yeah.
Good. Fake chocolate. Whatever you want. Yeah. I'll probably have one egg.
Is
maybe.
dark chocolate dairy free?
Normally, yeah. Because
Wow.
there's no milk in it.
That's interesting. I like dark chocolate,
Yeah. Well, there you go.
but you don't often get a dark chocolate Easter egg.
No, but there are variants that people do now.
God, variant. That's what I haven't had for a while.
Yeah.
It's all the rage a couple of years ago. Right.
It's all about the variants.
Yeah, Easter weekend means there's just a ridiculous amount of football. Starting on Friday evening, there's a whole EFL slate on Friday, ending in the Championship game that we're going to get onto. Don't panic. We are doing it. Don't worry. Those of you watching at home. And then full Premier League on Saturday. So we're going to cover off those two. If you haven't already got a Spreadex or a Sporting Index account, click in the link in the show description. There's a new customer offer. You can sign up there. T's and C's to apply. But yes, make sure you sign up and understand the risks of spread betting. Losses can exceed your initial deposit. 8 p.m. Friday night.
Yeah.
Sky Sports.
You can't wait.
Under the lights, probably, because it's getting dark quite late now. Oxford hosting Leeds.
Yeah.
I shan't be there. Going to the in-laws, as we always do for Easter, but I'll be watching.
No better place to watch it than the in-laws.
Yeah, although they don't have Sky. And their internet connection is not very good. So I'll be watching on my iPad. And
We'll text you.
And it'll buffer a lot. Yeah, so this is a game between Oxford, who look like they might be maybe safe,
Well,
against a Leeds side who look like they might be promoted.
yeah, that'd be good news on both accounts.
Yeah, I think when Sky chose this game for TV, it probably felt like it was going to be a game where Oxford needed to win it in order to stay up, and Leeds needed to win it to keep up, to stay in the promotion race. But now, due to Oxford's good form and Sheffield United's poor form, it feels a little less important. That's what I'm going to say. I pray. Yeah, total goals is the market we're looking at here. Spreadex have the sell price as 2.65, the buy price is 2.85, so the midpoint is 2.75, unlike the 2.65 it says on the running order in front of me.
There's the bus.
Yeah. Are we going higher or lower? 3, 2, 1.
Oh!
All in on the higher.
Have you guys not seen a Rowett ball?
No, I haven't really. Don't tend to watch it.
Fine. I'll lead this because it's my beloved. I would generally always be against goals when it comes to Oxford under Gary Rowett. We tend to stay in games. We tend to defend relatively deep and compact and try and hit teams in transition. And if you look at our recent good performances, a 1-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday, a 1-0 win against Sheffield United, a 1-0 win against Watford, you know, we try the way that we try and approach games is to sit and soak. Well, not sit and soak, but just drive the goal line down and stay in games as long as possible, making kind of the one goal or the 2 goals that are scored decisive. Here, because we've got a trip to Cardiff on Monday, I think this is like proper free hit territory, to the extent that it wouldn't surprise me at all if Gary Rowett maybe rested quite a lot of players.
Oh.
Because like we've got the game on Monday is obviously a way better opportunity to win 3 points. It's also against a team that are currently below us. Obviously, we'll see what happens earlier in the games, but it seems really unlikely that we're going to see 4 teams below Oxford all win on Friday and therefore make this a game that Oxford need to get something out of. I think it becomes a bit of a free hit, and in doing so, I could see it being a bit more open than our games normally are. I went to our game against QPR last Wednesday, and that was 3-1 in the end. We have a knack of conceding late goals when we're behind in games. It happened against them, it happened against Portsmouth, it happened against West Brom as well. And if Leeds are ahead, which seems very likely, if we do commit men forward, I think they'll pick us off. There's also just the fact that Leeds are really, really good. And from an attacking perspective, I think they'll cause us loads of trouble, as they often do. But there's also the fact that Leeds generally concede away from home recently. And they're not as solid away from home as they're at Ellen Road. So it wouldn't surprise me if we scored. And again, as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if Cameron Brannigan, for example, was dropped for this one, and it weakened us. Well, not dropped, rested for Monday. If we've got quite a few walking wounded, and if Monday is prioritised, which I think again brings the Leeds goal line up further. So higher for me. Jack?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? I think this weekend in the fixture list where teams have got to rotate to a certain degree and potentially, as you say, prioritise. So yeah, I make you right. I think that the Cardiff game does come into clearer focus than this one, and free hit is a fair description of it. I've not got a massively strong opinion on it. I think Leeds win it.
Hey?
Yeah, I do. I'm sorry to say that, but I think it will be fairly close, fairly tight. I don't think it's going to be goalless, and I don't think there's going to be just one goal in the game. So I think it's definitely two or more, and therefore I'm taking the chance that it's going to be either a very narrow, small loss, or it could well go, as you say, a little bit more open and be a 3-1 type of fixture. So, yeah, some goals at least, which is why I've gone with a higher position.
Dan?
Yeah, 4-0 to Leeds in the reverse fixture, I believe, which covers this.
We had some chances. We had some chances.
You were waiting for that.
We had some chances.
Only 2 teams in the league have conceded more goals at home than Oxford this season.
Go on.
See why you put this
Sheffield Wednesday, and Leeds have scored.
It's almost like we sacked our manager after that, wasn't it? And then we've improved.
Yeah, that may well be the case. Leeds have scored 19 more goals than any other team in the league and have nearly double Oxford's total this season, as you'd expect from a team at the top versus a team
scoring goals in everything
towards the bottom. I take on everything that's just only needs 3 goals, don't I? And I think this one looks a good time to do it.
Okay, there we go. We all agree, a goal fest under the lights on a Friday night.
Yep.
Hopefully Oxford 7, Leeds 0. Although it wouldn't be great for my Leeds outright bet.
What a quandary.
I think I know who I want to win, and that is Oxford United.
Yeah,
it's a bit like McElroy and Rose again, all over again from Sunday night.
It is.
Right, Aston Villa, Newcastle. Next up in the Premier League, Aston Villa. I mean, what kind of mental state they'll be in for this? We'll have to see. Put in an unbelievable attempt to come back against PSG on Tuesday night, just falling short. Had opportunities to level the game, having at one point been 4 goals behind on aggregate. Unbelievable effort.
And only getting 3 minutes of added on time.
That was, it annoys me so much. Like, what is going on there?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah, ridiculous. Wasn't
Like 2 goals, loads of subs, like loads of injuries as well, and the ball goes up and you're thinking, what's it going to be, 5, 6 more, and then it's 3. I would love to know how the incompetence to just work out. Like
there's never 3, is there, in a game, unless it's been a complete domination and like a side are 4 or 5-0 up, and the ball doesn't go out, no one gets injured. There's no real need for extra added time. But yeah, mad when I saw that.
Absolutely crazy.
We're going in for a barnstorming 10, say 5, 6, or even maybe more minutes, and we were robbed.
Yeah, indeed. Anyway, the supremacy market is what we're looking at here. It's Villa over Newcastle. 0.2 is the midpoint. So lower is a draw or a Newcastle win. Higher is an Aston Villa win. 3, 2, 1. All in agreement. Damn Worth. Why aren't Aston Villa going to win this game?
Well, I mean, a lot of it does lie on the fact that they had a huge game last night. I mean, they've obviously got a few days to recover, but that's got to take a lot out of you, I would have thought, and obviously ending in them ultimately being knocked out, which, it will have some impact on their mental state. But also, if you look at this fixture, in most recent times, Villa have failed to win any of the last 4 between these sides, and have lost the last 3 against Newcastle by 2 or more. So I think, obviously we say this all the time, but you get Newcastle win, which they have done by 2 or more in the last 3 meetings between these 2, and the draw. Both teams obviously in great form. Both won their last 4 in the Premier League. I just think getting both results on side here is the play, really.
Yeah, I think this one's a tough one to call. So therefore, I think it does make sense to be able to get 2 of the 3 results in your pocket. Of course, what we haven't mentioned as yet is Newcastle play. We're recording this actually a little earlier than normal. We're recording this on a Wednesday, and Newcastle play after we recorded. So if Isaac's injured, Murphy's injured, Trump's injured, so on and so forth, it would possibly change our viewpoint on it.
Sure.
But on the basis that nothing too dramatic happens, I just think at the moment, decide where Newcastle's a shrewd play, how they've performed since that Carabao Cup final. Were we going to see a dip from them? Were we going to say, oh, they won the trophy, now they're going to kind of just coast to the end of the season? Absolutely not. They were very good against, admittedly, an awful Manchester United at the weekend, but did what they needed to do, ripped them apart, really, could have scored and won by more than they did do. I'd say won every game since that cup final. So, again, that's ahead of them playing Palace tonight. Key players in good form. Obviously, the Eddie Howe situation as well. They seem to kind of more galvanise the club even further, and the fact they want obviously to do that for him while he's on his sick bed. And I just think that they are playing so well at the moment, and that midfield 3, I just love watching them. The energy they've got, the dynamism that they've got as well, and it's one or the other, isn't it? It's always doing something in the game, productive. So. A lot to like, and I just feel that with that Aston Villa hangover, both physically and probably more so emotionally, mentally, might well just take the edge off them against this Newcastle side at the moment. So I'm happy to take both the draw and the Newcastle win on side.
Yeah, I think you have to here. It's going to be really difficult for Villa, I think, to go again basically after what happened in midweek. As you say, we don't know what happens in the Newcastle game, and that will have some impact. But it does to me just seem like it's just, that game on Tuesday night was one of the biggest games, maybe their biggest game in kind of modern times. And to come so close and to play so well, and you could see the players were out on their feet at the end as well, like completely knackered, and understandably so, given everything. And I think the visit of Newcastle is kind of almost the worst possible team that they could play off the back of that, where they're banging form, they've got quality players. I think
Villa have got big games coming up, haven't they? And yes, the league is important, but they've got a real tough run of fixtures in the league to try and finish in the top 5, and I think that would be a monumental task to try and do that with their other commitments as well. So I think for them to finish top 8 and probably get a European shot next season might be their best option, but also with the possibility of winning some silverware. Great season. I'd like them to do it because I think they've brought so much to the table this season. I love it, Unai Emery, and I say for that close but no cigar against probably, I'd say, the best side in Europe at the moment was a hell of an achievement. And again, you think that's that late goal they conceded in Paris. You think, how close were they? So
heartbreaking.
Fair play to them, but they are a great side to watch in a minute. This should be a good game, shouldn't it?
I think if they win this game, I'll be so impressed by Emery and the players.
Yeah.
Especially because Newcastle coming into it, like looking at the league table, Newcastle are currently 4th.
On
56, on 56 with a game in hand. Villa 7th on 54. Newcastle going to this, I think they can basically know that if they avoid defeat here, then they're in a really commanding position to make sure that Villa aren't a team that go past them.
Yeah.
And so again, I think that's something they should be able to pull off. Next game on the card this week is, if I can find the running order, Ipswich versus Arsenal. Total goal minutes. Yeah, annoying last week.
You're close. You went back to basics.
Well, I said there could be 5 goals here.
Yeah.
And for
you got that part right.
Yeah. There were 6.
7.
Yeah, I turned off after the 6.
More frustrating though that I didn't put shirt numbers as the market for that game, because that blew up.
I'd gone higher for that.
Yeah. There we go. You would have been a winner.
Ipswich Arsenal, total goal minutes is the market here. 151 is the midpoint, 146 to sell, 156 to buy. Total cumulative minutes. The goals are scored within the game. 3, 2, 1. Right, it's your turn to go first.
Okay.
Do you hate it when we all get the same on every?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not difficult.
I think it's like
I've seen your results this season.
Whee! Okay, I'm just the host.
Right, okay.
You guys are the experts.
Yeah.
Seems that
Something
way.
like that.
Seems that way.
Well, you.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I deserve it.
Yeah. Seasons but young. Okay, no, let's go on. Ipswich against Arsenal. Ipswich's last hurrah. It's their last big home game of the season, isn't it? They've got Brentford and West Ham to come, so a big opportunity for them to go and kind of bloody the nose of one of the elite, certainly. And we know they will have a go, but they generally do concede chances. So how do I see this going? It wouldn't be a surprise to see it go a similar way to obviously Ipswich at Chelsea last weekend. They seem to get themselves in very good positions and then find a way of sort of throwing it away. So you expect the crowd to be up for this one. You expect Ipswich to go at them from the get-go. Of course, Arsenal have got to play Real Madrid away. We don't know the result there, assuming they get through. Great. If they don't, then that's going to be a massive, monumental collapse from them. So how do they go about this one mentally? So I'm going to take that Arsenal do manage to find their way through, but there's going to be that rest and rotation regardless, isn't it, to some degree? So my main focus here is that Ipswich's concession rate at home, they do throw up a lot of good chances. Whatever side Arsenal put out in that final third, they will have attacking threat and talent. Ipswich actually concede over 2 goals per game on average at home, which is a higher average concession rate than when they're away from home. So possibly because of the fact that they're attacking a little bit more and leave themselves a little bit more open. So 36 goals conceded so far at home this season. And I think for the goal minutes that we're looking at here, it might well be a case that when Arsenal look to bring their maybe rested, rotated players on at the latter stages, that they'll look to get a couple of goals late in the day to boost the goal minutes. It's not a massively high line, and so I think a bit of late action here, which has been the case between certainly in Ipswich games recently, we'll see as over.
Yeah, I think when you look at Ipswich's games against the best teams in the league at home, they conceded 6 against Man City, 4 against Newcastle, 4 against Nottingham Forest. The 2-0 against Arsenal is kind of the outlier there, but we know that against Liverpool, but we know that Liverpool aren't necessarily a team that rack up a big score on Arne Slot, as we might get to later.
Yeah. And that was first game of the season as well.
Yeah. And the game state here is basically Ipswich are down pretty much. They'll probably keep believing they can do it, but there's every reason for them just to throw men forward. A point and holding Arsenal does nothing for them whatsoever. Their games are generally at Portman Road pretty end to end. I think they'll look to attack from the word go rather than wait until they're behind to do so. And again for Arsenal, I mean we don't know what happens with them tonight at the time of recording. But they're a side that have often racked up scorelines away from home against some of the teams in the kind of the bottom half of the table. They put 5 past West Ham in the 5-2 win. They put 5 past Palace away from home. They put 3 past Brentford. So, yeah, it's not a particularly high line for a game that I could easily see being 4-2, 5. One of those kind of crazy scorelines. Yeah. I think the upside is way better than the downside because like a 0-0 or a 1-0 seems pretty unlikely in my mind. Dan.
Yeah, I think this is going to be quite similar to the market we had last week, obviously after Arsenal won 3-0 against Real Madrid, in that I took time of first goal over because I thought it would be quite tight at the start. I'm not necessarily suggesting this will be tight because I think Ipswich will come out all guns blazing. I don't think it's a bad thing. In fact, it's a very good thing for this market if Ipswich do go in front. But I think Arsenal, obviously, even though they've got a 3-goal cushion, it's still quite a big task to avoid the remontada from Real Madrid tonight. So I think they might be a little bit slow against Ipswich, and their goals are more likely to come a little bit later on, 1-5-1. If we can get 2 late goals, that's enough on its own, and I think Ipswich can join the party here, make the most of Arsenal's big night in Europe tonight.
The good news is that Manchester United kick off at the same time, so their relegation rivals are going to be...
you know what I mean? Isn't it such a shame that one of those teams isn't just a bit closer? Because what a relegation battle it would be with Spurs and United in it. Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you grinning about?
Well, no, I was thinking about Spurs because I don't actually know what the stat is off the top of my head. But it's like, I don't think any team has had fewer points than them that have scored 60 or more goals. Like, they've scored loads of goals, but they're just so bad.
Damn stat. Leicester hosting Liverpool is the next game on the card. Sporting Index have the supremacy 1.85 to sell, 2.05 to buy. So the midpoint is 1.95. Dan, you don't like us all going for the same thing?
I probably shouldn't have picked this market then.
Okay, so Liverpool to win by 2 goals or more is higher. Liverpool to win by a solitary goal, a draw, or a Leicester win is lower. 3, 2, 1. Yes! You like it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like your pick. I like our pick.
I don't know. Liverpool aren't playing that well at the moment. If you look at their most recent victories, their last 2 wins have come by a solitary goal against West Ham and against Everton. They were beaten by Fulham in the game sandwiched between those. If you look at games away from home at teams towards the bottom end of the table, only beat Southampton 3-2, only beat Wolves 2-1, drew away from home at Everton. Like I'm accepting that I'm backing an odds against shot here, but it just wouldn't surprise me if they're not fluent right now. Like they're not at their best, and Leicester, although they are all but down, we saw them rally with a really impressive 2-2 draw away from home at Brighton, which suggests that they're kind of still up for the fight to an extent. When you're looking at their recent home form, it is abysmal. They haven't scored at home since December the 8th, but
that's unsustainable.
Correct, it's unsustainable. Like they will score. They've got 3 home games left: Liverpool, Southampton, and Ipswich. It wouldn't surprise me if they score multiple goals in those 3 games, because it's not like they aren't having shots in the games. It's just finishing issues. So, yeah, I'm happy to go against the grain and say having Leicester on side, having the draw on side, and having Liverpool to win by a solitary goal, which happens quite a lot. Yeah.
If you had to put a scoreline on it, have you got a scoreline in mind?
2-1. You?
I don't see Leicester scoring. I think that the Renaissance was a false dawn. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're back.
And they were never here.
No.
Well, were they?
Can't be back.
Were they here under Steve Cooper?
No.
Well, they were like just slightly under mid-table, weren't they?
Were they?
Yeah.
Were they?
Start of the season, yeah.
All right. Yeah, they were then. Well, they were like in the vicinity.
Yeah, they were in the vicinity. Yeah, they were never going to like run away with Champions League football, were they? But I think.
I mean, Leicester winning the league. You mad?
Yeah, never going to happen. Never going to happen. Idiots. I just think they're in such a bad place, and I kind of fancied them to get something from Brighton, but actually score, keep it close, keep it relatively competitive. So that obviously came to pass because Brighton are having a little bit of a wobble at the minute, but. Around that, they've been so bad. They offer nothing going forward. They're terrible at the back. And yeah, Liverpool, I think pretty much any other than Southampton, any other side, I'll be completely with you. Liverpool have started over the last few weeks. They've not been free-flowing as far as their goals are concerned. They have been conceding as well. So a 2-1-ish kind of result would generally be pretty much what I'd be thinking, apart from Leicester. I just can't be getting Leicester on side. I think the Virgil van Dijk is likely to sign his contract, isn't he, this week? So they've kind of staged it. So it was Salah last week, Virgil van Dijk this week. He'll want to keep a clean sheet. Of course he will anyway, but to celebrate that contract there. Salah, we're waiting for him. He was obviously so disappointed to be taken off last week as well. There's at some point in time he's going to click and fire again and kind of win that golden boot in style. So no better opportunity really against this Leicester side. They've had a run up to the game as well, so I think they've got opportunity to keep their players relatively fresh. So I see him winning it. I do see him win well. I would be very surprised if they don't win it by at least 2 goals. So yeah, higher for me.
Higher for you, Dan?
Yeah, much the same to be honest. I don't see Leicester scoring either. And Liverpool scored at least 2 goals in 23 of their last 25 Premier League games. There's a stat for you.
Gosh.
They've also beat Leicester by 2 or more in 5 of their last 6. So I think this is probably going to be 2 or 3-0 to Liverpool.
2 or 3-0 to Liverpool. Easy as that. Finally, the last game that we're covering in detail is Tottenham hosting Nottingham Forest in the Nuno Espirito Santo derby.
It is. Probably one of the managers of the season, I'd suggest.
I would think so, yeah. In the world.
Oh, in the world.
Fair enough, isn't it?
You heard of a guy called Noel Hunt?
Ruben say yes. Total goals is the market we're looking at here. Sporting Index have the goal line at 3.15 to sell, 3.35 to buy. So 3.25 is the midpoint. So lower is 0, 1, 2 or 3 goals. Higher is 4 or more. 3, 2, 1. Can't be going overs in a Nuno game, can we?
No.
Like, I know that they haven't been quite as low scoring as maybe we'd expect a Nuno team to be for much of the season. But even so, like, we know that the way they generally will set up against a team like Tottenham, who had programmed to dominate possession. I don't think Spurs, even though we've seen some high scoring games, and obviously the 4-2 last Sunday was one of those, it's not as nuts as it was last season. Like, last season we were consistently seeing games go way over like ridiculous goal lines. I don't think it's the case this time around. I think Forest will look to defend compact, look to nick it on the break and win that way. And I think Spurs, from an attacking standpoint, don't look particularly comfortable right now. Dan, what do you think?
So the last time Spurs played Nottingham Forest was off the back of conceding 6. They obviously come into this one having conceded 4 last time out, and it was 1-0 when they played Forest last time.
Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be very similar in the sense that Tottenham will obviously want to be a lot tighter at the back and not get absolutely hammered. I think, sort of what you were saying, I think Tottenham are terrible at the moment. I don't think they're going to offer much going forward, and maybe won't even score here. So, needing Forest to score 4 or more is just, I don't want to be anywhere near that. So I think that is the play.
Yeah. Europe
Jack?
for Spurs, of course, Thursday night.
True.
Frankfurt, really tough game. One they'll probably come out on the wrong side of, but who knows with Spurs? It's this is the sort of game they could go and get a surprise win and progress through. But ultimately, again, whatever result they produce in that game, I think it just means that it has a detrimental effect on this one. The other thing for me is Forest and lost their last 2 on the spin in the league, which has made them a little bit nervous looking over their shoulder. I think they absolutely deserve to be in the Champions League next season. They've had a sensational season, kept it going. So if they were to fall away right at the last hurdle, I think that would be a real shame. So on that basis, I do think Nuno's going to sit up here and go, right, we need to go a bit more kind of old school, a bit more traditional. Let's keep it compact, let's keep it tight. Let's stop Tottenham in that one area where they are decent in those forward areas. Let's stop that happening. Looked him on the counter-attack, and I think last week where Spurs kind of went into a bit of a wild game at Wolves, I think this will be a different one where if Forest do get in front, they're going to want to like to try and keep and hold that and maybe get another goal, but I can't see it unravelling in that respect. They're not going to overcommit, they're not going to get involved in that type of game. So I feel that this one is a must-win for Forest. They could be down to 4th, obviously, if Newcastle win in midweek. So for me, I think this one's more of a tight and cagey. Forest get the win, 2-0, game over.
Job done.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cool. Nap time. Dan, the nap king.
Yes.
Sorry.
Push last week.
The napkin.
Yeah, push last week's not great, but it's no loss. So we
Won
go
your
again.
nap last week?
Yeah, Jadon Anthony.
Never in doubt.
Yeah.
Just the one, though, wasn't it?
Just the
a
one.
lovely deflected effort from range.
What beautiful.
Try taking that off him. Yeah.
No,
and a big win for your one. 105-point winner, I believe.
It was decent. Yeah, it was decent.
Can't
beat a 90+ added on time.
Could love that.
Last goal. Clinch it.
Really
Love
nice
to see that. Well, I wouldn't mind one of those this week, but from one particular player, because I'm going for a player goal minutes market. From Leicester versus... No, not this time. Leicester versus
just
Liverpool.
Playing for the push.
And I'm going for Virgil van Dijk.
Ooh.
Buy of his player goal minutes at
Virgil.
5.5. This is largely down to the fact that Leicester have conceded the most headed goals of any team in the Premier League and even the most headed attempts of any team in the Premier League. And no team has scored more headed goals than the team they come up against here in Liverpool.
Perfect storm.
I would say that Virgil van Dijk is probably their biggest threat.
Wow.
He's pretty good in the air, isn't he?
He's all right, mate. He's all right.
3rd for aerial success of any player in the Premier League, albeit most of them are probably defensive aerial duels. But he can cause a bit of havoc in the opposition box. He scored twice this season. And another stat that backs me up a little bit here is Liverpool had 14 corners the last time they played Leicester, which is obviously a huge amount. You'd think he's in the box and the main threat from each first corner. So if that plays out again here, we've got quite a big chance. 5.5 leaves us with more upside than downside, I'd say. So max loss is 5.5 times my stake. Another small bet there, I talked about the corners. Liverpool corner supremacy at 4.
He's doubling up.
No, double nap.
I'll take that too.
All right, we're here.
I'll take that too, because the supremacy last time was 13. So again, quite a big upside there. So there you go, two corner-related bets.
Supremacy 4?
Yeah, 4.
Nice. Virgil van Dijk obviously scored last time out against West Ham, and in his actual post-match interview was saying that he needed to score more goals from set pieces. He is their main threat, and he hasn't done enough this season. So
yeah, and he also might be celebrating a new contract.
Possibly so.
TBC.
Right, Jack, what have you got for us?
Well, I think you're going to disagree with this one, but
Never.
Yeah, Crawley did me a favour last week. Obviously, they were the team involved in that total goal minutes match. I'm going for a similar angle this time in their game at Birmingham, champions elect, but promoted Birmingham, fresh off their massive defeat in the trophy that you love so much. So I'm going with Birmingham total goal minutes at 117 as a midpoint. I'm going higher. I just feel that there will be a little bit of a party atmosphere at St Andrews. I think they will need to have a little bit of reaction from the fact that they did lose that EFL trophy game, which they probably were expected to win. And they are clearly the best side by a country mile in the league as far as the points tally is concerned. You can't argue with that. And Crawley have given it a go at the bottom under Scott Lindsay, but it's led to them conceding a lot of goals in recent weeks. They've lost 4-3, 3-1 twice in the last 3 games. And I look at Birmingham's record against the 2 sides that are below Crawley in the league. At St Andrews, they've won against Shrewsbury 4-1. They beat Cambridge 4-0 as well. And I also think the other element to this is their goal scorers. Obviously, Jay Stansfield came with a large fee. Still not the top goal scorer in the league at the moment.
Hasn't barely scored any goals in open play.
No, not from open play. That's right. Yeah. So I think it'll be a little bit of a gloss taken off of the fact if he doesn't be the top goal scorer. He's one behind at the moment, isn't he? I said, but largely down to the amount of penalties they've received this year. But a player that I really, really like and I feel really, really sorry for, and I hoped he was going to do particularly well this season, and has done considering his game time, is Alfie May. He's still on 15 goals. He's not a million miles away from the top there. And I just feel that if he might well start, but there's a good chance he won't, and therefore come on late. I think he'll still have that kind of edge to go and prove his worth and go and score a couple of late goals. So I'm going with Birmingham total goal minutes here. A couple in the second half would generally mean that I'm there or thereabouts for this one. And I think they could score a few against this Crawley side that are really open under Scott Lindsay, as we know. So Birmingham total goal minutes, midpoint at 117. I'm going higher.
Nice. I'm doing total goal minutes as well. I'm going to Derby Luton, the early kickoff on Saturday. And the goal line is low. It's understandably low. John Eustace, a manager who is very sound defensively against Luton side, who struggled to score goals.
What a game this is.
Massive game. And that's why this is like a purely game state selection, where if you look at the Championship table now, a draw is just no good for Luton. They come into this game 3 points behind Derby with a much worse goal difference. Yeah. So even though I can imagine this will be relatively tight early on, if either team are ahead in this game, it's going to be an absolute onslaught from the other side. It's kind of similar. We saw it with Sheffield United and Argyle last weekend, where a draw there for both teams, as it was 1-0 with 10 minutes to go, was just no good. And we saw both teams just committing loads of men forward. And it was Argyle who got the goal. It's the same here, where, you know, unless there's 2 or 3 goals in it, in which case we're probably already over the line, the game state will mean that Luton will throw men forward, Derby might hit them on the counter, and vice versa. Because, I mean, a draw for Derby is better than a draw for Luton, but at home against a team in 23rd, with the possibility of getting 3 points ahead of everyone else playing would be massive. So it's a really low line. Like, the midpoint is 105.5. 106 is the midpoint. And that is like unbelievably low for a game that I think is really kind of ready made for late goals.
I agree. I think that the modern philosophy in these games is we have a go at it, whereas I think not in the too distant past you'd think, oh, this is going to be tight, it's going to be cagey, they're going to be scared to lose. I think the mindset has definitely changed over recent years, and that is a really low line, great line to attack. And as you say, at any point in time, there's going to be someone chasing the game, you'd assume, later on, unless it is, say, already a bit of a landslide, which you'd already in. So nice bet.
Thank you so much.
That's all right.
Very kind. Right, there we have it. This week's episode of Higher or Lower is done and dusted. An Easter special for you to get your teeth stuck into with your eggs. Yeah, with your eggs.
It's nuts, Paul.
Are you hopping mad? Like an Easter bunny?
Right, come on, end it.
Cracking up.
Come on, end it. Right, yeah, so make sure you sign up for a Spread Extra Sporting Index account if you haven't already. Use the link in the description below. There is a new customer offer, so you can check that out there. Check the T's and C's. Remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit when it comes to spread betting. Oddschecker have you covered for your fixed odds betting needs. WhoScored.com for your stats-based research. Jack and Dan, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And happy birthday to Dan. Not only is it Easter weekend.
Happy birthday to Dan. What day is your birthday?
On Easter Sunday. So lots of chocolate.
You and Jesus.
I know. Lots of similarities.
Have they ever been seen in the same? Have they ever been seen in the same room
Jesus
together?
Worth. No.
Jesus Worth.
Jesus Worth, and that is the end of the show. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the weekend's football. Have a great Easter, and please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.